This is a very interesting and important clip that I'm going to play for you. This is video of Dr. Karen Berg explaining to a bunch of Kentucky senators, mostly white men, how fetal development works. A really, really interesting clip, which the clip itself is from March 10th, but it went viral a couple days ago. Article in Women's Agenda. You are killing women. Senator Karen Berg slams Kentucky's restrictive abortion bill. I am the only woman on this podium. I am the only physician on this podium. This bill is a medical sham. It does not follow medicine. It does not even purport to listen to medicine. Now, Kentucky Senator Karen Berg is not only a senator, she is also a medical doctor. And she, I don't, I would say ranted, but rant has like a negative connotation. This was a very fact-based, impassioned plea to, again, what is basically just white men deciding about abortion and what women should be allowed to do, explaining how things actually work. Let's take a listen to this.
Explain my no vote.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a diagnostic radiologist, and diagnostic radiologists historically and in many places in this state still do all of the first trimester OB ultrasound. So I am extraordinarily personally familiar with the development of a fetus in the womb.
Right.
And for you to sit here and say that at 15 weeks, a fetus has a functional heart, a 4-chamber heart, that can survive on its own is fallacious. That is not true. There is no viability. I look around at my colleagues on this committee. I am the only woman on this podium right now. I am the only physician sitting on this podium. This bill is a medical sham. It does not follow medicine. It does not even purport to listen to medicine. And for each and every one of my colleagues to be so willing to cast an I vote when what you are doing is putting your finger, putting your knee, putting a gun to women's heads. You are killing women because abortion will continue. Women will continue to have efficacy over their own body, whether or not you make it legal. I vote no, and I really, really apologize to the people in Kentucky that we are spending this much time and this much energy when we have families in poverty. We have single women heading households in poverty at a higher rate than any other group in the state. And you all are not addressing that. You all are making it worse.
Yeah. So this has actually become, I don't want to call it a meme, but it has become a kind of a self-replicating talking point about 15 weeks. Now, what's important, and the hesitation I have to see, there's a double-edged sword here, okay? And I'll tell you what it is, which is you can address these claims individually and say, is there anything to this 15-week heartbeat viability thing? And we'll talk about that in a second. But sometimes the problem is if you start engaging specifically with some of these things, it ignores the bigger issue, which is, generally speaking, clueless people making decisions about women's bodies. And particularly people who will never have to make those decisions for themselves because they're mostly men, as we've seen time and time again in many of these southern states making decisions about abortion. But let's at least explore the talking point, which is it's been mentioned now in multiple states, Kentucky, Mississippi, other places. The talking point is the heart is viable at 15 weeks. At 15 weeks, and we have to consider that, and so therefore there should be no abortion ever allowed after 15 weeks is typically what they say. You can argue about how fully developed the heart is at 15 weeks, and I don't mean you can argue there is one scientific answer, but you can make that the focus. But the truth is that until week 22 or 23, there's no fetal viability outside of the womb. And if you could research this, and it's widely written about, that at that point, at 23 weeks, it's very, very marginal in terms of fetal viability, and very, very low percentage. That's 23 weeks. And they're, parroting this 15-week thing. Tate Reeves, the Mississippi governor, recently did it on recently in the last 6 months or so. There was a incident where he was on CNN and he talked about it as well. And it's just not true. But simply debunking that, there's a question as to whether that's even the right way to fight these people, because there's the bigger question of who are they really to say about this stuff anyway. I mean, it's when we look at some of the questions asked yesterday of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson during her confirmation hearings. Are there physical differences between men and women? Are babies racist? What is your opinion? What is the definition of a woman? Or should some private school in Washington, D.C. teach from a certain book, or whatever the case may be? You can argue each of those things on the merits, but it's sort of like she's interviewing, quote, interviewing to be a Supreme Court justice. Whatever the answer is, does it really have relevance in the field that she is going to be in? And it's sort of a similar thing with the abortion debate, which is, to some degree, the individual fights about heartbeats and viability and all these different things, they are not really the main issue, which is these are people who want to decide for women what it is that they should be able to decide for themselves. And it's not like if you win the argument about heart development at 15 weeks, their perspective is going to be changed. So that's why I question about the kind of wisdom of engaging in that. I don't know. I'm curious to hear from you guys.